to the Gospel Road. We are going to look at Proverbs 17. It says, "Better is a dry morsel with quiet than a house full of feasting with strife. A servant who deals wisely will rule over a son who acts shamefully and will share the inheritance as one of the brothers. The crucible is for silver, and the furnace is for gold, and the Lord tests hearts. An evildoer listens to wicked lips, and a liar gives ear to a mischievous tongue. Whoever mocks the poor insults his maker. He who is glad at calamity will not go unpunished. Grandchildren are the crown of the aged, and the glory of children is their fathers. Fine speech is not becoming to a fool. Still less is false speech to a prince. A bribe is like a magic stone in the eyes of the one who gives it. Wherever he turns, he prospers. Whoever covers an offensive seeks love, but he who repeats a matter separates close friends. A rebuke goes deeper into a man of understanding than 100 blows into a fool. An evil man seeks only rebellion, and a cruel messenger will be sent against him. Let a man seek a she-bear robbed of her cub rather than a fool in his folly. If anyone returns evil for good, evil will not depart from his house. The beginning of strife is like letting out water, so quit before the quarrel breaks out. He who justifies with the wicked and he who condemns the righteous are both alike an abomination to the Lord. Why should a fool have money in his hand to buy wisdom when he has no sense? A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. One who lacks sense gives a pledge and puts up security in the presence of his neighbor. Whoever loves transgression loves strife. He who makes his door high seeks destruction. A man of crooked heart does not discover good, and one who with a dishonest tongue falls into calamity. He who sires a fool gets himself sorrow, and the father of a fool has no joy. A joyful heart is good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones. The wicked accepts a bribe in secret to pervert the ways of justice. The discerning sets his face toward wisdom, but the eyes of a fool are on the ends of the earth. A foolish son is a grief to his father, and bitterness to her who bore him. To impose a fine on a righteous man is not good, nor to strike the noble for their uprightness. Whoever restrains his words is knowledge, and he who has a cool spirit is a man of understanding. Even a fool who keeps silent is considered wise. When he closes his lips, he is deemed intelligent. Proverbs 17. That's what we're looking at today. Always fun reading the Proverbs because it makes you feel like you're reading fortune cookies with all the pieces that come out of that. I mean, you really could just start posting something every day and be your own fortune cookie on social media, right? So many things to look at this. In fact, looking at fools and those who are wicked. And I mean, we deal with things like this every day, trying to figure out what is going on. And it really can create issues sometimes when you're not really sure what is going on, when you're not really sure what you're doing. I mean, where is it that you are? Are you sitting there trying to gain knowledge, or are you just sitting there kind of running your mouth and not listening? It says, even a fool who keeps silent is considered wise. When he closes his lips, he is deemed intelligent. And what does the word say? I'm thinking it pretty much comes from that a fool seems wise until he opens his mouth to dispel all whatever it is. Are you gaining knowledge to be a person who likes to be a know-it-all, likes to throw it in someone's face? I was actually at a game over the weekend with a friend. Him and I were sitting behind this couple, and we were just having a conversation. And in that conversation, all of a sudden, the couple that was in front of us just decided to be part of the conversation. Didn't ask, just started to interject whatever they wanted to. And then, of course, once they interjected, it just kept going. And then his wife or significant other, the lady who was with him, she then started in as well. And it's not the bad thing that a person might have some knowledge to gain with you, but when it turns into you can't stop talking and you just keep sharing information for no reason that you do not need to be part of a conversation, it kind of gets annoying. We end up finding a different place to sit during the first game, and then of course the second game. It was we he ended up having to do some work, so went home. So I actually went back to this spot, and I said I took one for the team. I went back and sit behind the couple, which it wasn't bad. I mean, it was a good conversation, but you need to know the line before you cross it, right? It's setting up the boundaries. And some people do not always understand those boundaries. They're not sure where they're set, and they don't even step over them. They just completely demolish them. They're gone. Kind of like dropping the walls of Zion, right? It's insane. But these are things that we need to be aware of when we are out doing things, when you are in front of someone or around someone at an event. I mean, again, do you just kind of start interjecting things because you feel like you should, even if you don't need to? But again, if you interject once, you kind of leave it and you back off. I know a lot of times I'll end up overhearing conversations and I'm like, oh, should I say something? I know they were looking, I mean, there was somebody else when we moved and they were trying to find, wondering one of the high schools were in town. Like, I could tell them, but I'm like, no, I'll just leave it all. They Googled it while they were sitting at the game. And I mean, that happens a lot. A lot of times I hear these conversations, but I choose not to interject myself because I'm not part of the conversation. It's always the whole thing. It's an A-B conversation, so see your way out of it. So I take the C and stay out of it. But many people, they don't have those boundaries. They just hear something and they just feel like they just need to interject. They need to be the person that is giving that information that needs to be shared, even though they don't need to. Or maybe the people listening, they don't care. It's not something that they were wanting to know. I mean, not saying it's not good history, it's not good information to be shared, but you don't have to be the smartest person in the room all the time or ever, unless someone is asking you a point blank question to you, wanting to have this piece of information. Then you're sharing something that people want to know. You're not just trying to make yourself look important or make yourself look smart. I'm not saying there wasn't a time in my life that I did the exact same thing, because sometimes it comes down to how you feel. I mean, maybe it's a loneliness because you don't really have conversations and you just feel like you're always left out of things. So then all of a sudden you find yourself just interjecting yourself into conversations or things that you really have no business to be part of. Like I said, I'm not saying that I haven't done the exact same thing, and I'm hoping that I've gotten a lot better at that as I've gotten older. And maybe I don't. Maybe I do throw things out there and there's no reason that I need to. But again, holding ourselves accountable, being aware of our surroundings, knowing what is happening with those that are around us to kind of give that idea, right? It's what we have to be aware of. It's what we have to be careful with and see where that is actually going. A fool who keeps silent is considered wise. When he closes his lips, he is deemed intelligent. Is it better to keep your mouth shut and seem wise than to open your mouth and, well, prove everyone that you are not wise? It can be crazy. It can be a very fine line that you walk, sounding, looking like a fool. or just being one altogether. And sometimes when you're in that situation and when you do things like that, you kind of become that person that people are not wanting to be around, not wanting to invite out to things. I know I've said this because I've had this issue for years that sometimes I will repeat myself and I'll do it over and over again. And maybe sometimes I think when it happens is because I don't know that someone's even listening and I'm actually part of the conversation, because you say it and then they don't give any kind of answer or acknowledgement that you've said something. So I can fall into that foolish category just like anybody else. I think we all can very easily if we're not careful, if we're not cautious on what we're doing on that daily basis. Just sit there and think before you speak. That's what they always say. We hear it all the time. That's why we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Listen more than we talk. How often does that always happen, though? Sometimes, right? Proverbs 17. So what we're looking at today, that is your food for thought, your fortune cookie of the week, right? Could be one every day if you read through all of the different Proverbs, right? A lot of wisdom, a lot of things to learn, a lot of things to make us better as we're trying to be better and trying to help others be better as well. Really encouraging and motivating and inspiring others and really lifting them up when they're having those days. Read it. What does it do for you? How does it help you be that better person, right? Proverbs 17. If you enjoyed this, be sure to share it on social media. I always appreciate that. Also, give a rating on whatever platform that you're listening. And you can always find me on social media, pretty much any of them. Just look up My Buddy Jimmy. In fact, you can find mybuddyjimmy.com. Try to give you the list all the time, but man, I can't even remember the list anymore. There's so many. And I've gotten myself on so many different ones. It's crazy. But who hasn't, right? That's the thing. Get out there and make those posts. Thank you for listening to The Gospel Road. Have a great day. God bless.
Spinal adjustments provided by Dr. Chad Rolfson. The Spinal Tuning Chiropractic Center is a Des Moines area low flat fee per month unlimited chiropractic care practice. When life happens, just adjust. Schedule today at spinaltuning.com.
If you're looking for help with software, app, web development, be sure to check out my friends at ingenuitycompany.com. They believe in their clients. Software development, app development, web development, visioning, design thinking, diagramming, organizational development, strategy. They can help you at the Ingenuity Company. Find out more at ingenuitycompany.com.
The Jimmy Olsen Radio Network.